live. Just take another second here. Okay, it looks like we are live and streaming on Facebook. Thank you everyone for joining us via Facebook and for my great distinguished panel here joining me live via Zoom. So my name is Kathryn Edwards. I'm the Public Affairs Officer at the U.S. Embassy here in Banjul, the Gambia. And it is my pleasure today to host this session on the YALI 10-year anniversary, celebrating 10 years of the Young African Leaders Initiative. I am joined today by a few distinguished panelists who will be presenting during the program. And to start off the program today, I would like to introduce our panelists. I'm going to start with Ambassador Carl Paschal, who is the U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia. Sir, if you want to say hello.
Once I hit the unmute button, that will work much better. Hello, good morning, everybody. So happy to be here with this really distinguished group of very experienced young leaders here in the Gambia. So very happy to be with you and to provide any thoughts I can provide on how important and how innovative YALI has been in connecting young leaders across the African continent to each other as they work hard in businesses and government, public service, et cetera. Just some phenomenal connections and work being done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And then I'm going to turn over to Alassane Ba, who is a Mandela Washington Fellow alum, and he's also the coordinator for the YALI 10 program here in the Gambia. Alassane?
Hello, guys, everyone. Thank you, Kathryn, and thank you, Ambassador, for joining. And my name is Alassane Ba, a Mandela Washington Fellow in 2016, and also part of the YALI Advisory Committee. So I am part of the committee that is setting up this 10 years anniversary for the entire fellowship this year. And I'm so excited to be part of it. And thank you so much for hosting us. So if you're watching, I just want to remind you, you will be learning how this 10 years anniversary will unfold and what exactly will happen in this program. Thank you, Kathryn.
Thank you, Alassane, and we're so excited to work with you on and the advisory committee on the 10-year anniversary. We're also joined by two other alumni of two major YALI programs, the Mandela Washington Fellowship and the Regional Leadership Center. So let me go over to Mohamed Kanye, who is an alumni of the Regional Leadership Center, and he is actually the president of the Alumni Association here in the Gambia. Mohamed, just please make sure to come off mute. You're still on mute there. There we go.
Great. Hi, good morning, everyone, and nice to be with you all here. My name is Mohamed Kanye, like she rightly introduced me. I am an RLC Fellow 2018, Accra, Ghana, and currently the president of the board that is overseeing the affairs of the Alumni Association in the Gambia. The Alumni Association is made up of young Gambians who have benefited from training sponsored by the US government, ranging from those who attended their trainings in Africa, like the Regional Leadership Center in Ghana and also in Nigeria, as well as those who benefited from trainings conducted in the United States of America, like the Mandela Washington Fellowship, equally the International Visitor Leaders Program as well, and the PALIB, the Pan-African Leaders Initiative as well. So we are so excited to have all of you on board here, and we believe it's going to be a very exciting session with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohamed. And we're also joined by Fatimata Katsama, who was part of the Mandela Washington Fellowship. Fatimata, do you want to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone. I am honored to be part of this celebration. My name is Fatimata Katsama. I am a 2017 Mandela Washington Fellow and a social entrepreneur in the Gambia.
Thank you, Fatimata. Yeah, we've been working with Fatimata and her organization for quite some time now, and it's been very exciting to see the work that they are doing. As we kick off today's celebration and information session on the 10-year anniversary of YALI, anybody who's watching us live on Facebook, if you have any questions or comments or you want to chime in, go ahead and put your comments in the comment section of the live stream video. Our team is monitoring that and we'll be answering questions as we go along. So please feel free to participate by commenting below the video on Facebook. Thank you. Okay, so to start off, as everyone knows, we have had a very recent change in administration in the United States, and President Biden has confirmed the U.S. support for Africa and the Young African Leaders Initiative. So I want to invite Ambassador Paschal to talk a little bit about the importance of the YALI program and what it means to the United States.
Kat, thank you so much. I was really privileged. YALI began in 2010. So celebrated the 10th anniversary of YALI just this past fall. And so this entire year is a celebration of the 10th year anniversary of the Young African Leaders Initiative. It has grown to include, beginning in 2014, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, as well as our regional leadership centers, as well as, in addition to the formal YALI exchange programs, there's also a YALI digital network that people can join, whether they were part of a fellowship or an exchange or not. And so what has this really done? I think our objective in the United States in launching YALI 10 and a half years ago was to really invest in the next generation of African leaders, understanding that with the advances in access to internet and advances across cellular networks, that young people across Africa had the ability to connect with each other, to share experiences, share ideas, get advice and recommendations, partner on significant initiatives in the private sector and the public sector in various aspects of life. And so the entire idea here was for the United States government to help provide a framework on infrastructure for this connectivity to happen. And that's what's really happened. It's exploded across Africa. We have just a tremendous number of young Africans across the continent of Africa who are, in fact, on a daily basis, connecting, contacting, sharing information, sharing advice, sharing perspectives, experiences, and views. And it's really, especially when you look at some of the innovations at the African Union, the negotiation and entry into force of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement and some other trans-Africa initiatives, that YALI framework then suddenly becomes far more relevant in terms of building that connectivity and the potential for, especially for business ventures, but also for good governance. And so those are very important. I was really privileged in 2014 at the launch of the Mandela Washington Fellowship to be in the Africa Bureau at the State Department, and was part of the Africa Bureau's support for two things happened at nearly the same time. President Obama hosted the Africa Leaders Summit, where just about every president from across Africa came to Washington, D.C. To meet with the president and other senior U.S. government leaders, and to meet together to talk about the many challenges that we can partner together to work on. But at the same time, we happen to have the first cohort of Mandela Washington Fellows in Washington. And so we took the opportunity to take the Mandela Washington Fellows in 2014 who were there to meet with their leaders who were in Washington to meet with President Obama and senior U.S. government leaders. And I will be honest with you, some of those leaders very enthusiastically wanted to meet these young people from their country, young voters, and talk to them about their experiences and hear what they were doing, what their dreams and aspirations were. Without naming names, there were one or two who were a little reluctant to meet with young people because they were a few generations apart from those young people, and perhaps weren't quite comfortable with that. But really, I think the value of Mandela Washington Fellowship and really the broader YALI program has manifested itself in African countries across the continent. And at the same time, strengthening ties between the United States and Africa in ways that I really have seen few programs do. So for all of you participating in YALI, for those who have been part of exchanges and fellowships, and for those of you who are part of the digital network, just congratulations and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think it's very clear that the YALI program has had a huge impact in the United States, and also, of course, here in the Gambia and throughout Africa. Al-Hassan, I know that you are leading our advisory committee for the 10-year anniversary. I want to get your perspective, and can you tell us a little bit about the 10-year program?
Yeah, thank you, Kathryn, and I'm so excited to be here. So just like you said, the internet can just go off, but actually I'm going to do, we hope so, it will not go today. So, but actually the program itself is designed, because if you look at the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program, when the US Embassy came, the US government came up with the idea, it was to help, share something, like learning from each other, because America has so much common things to Africa, and Africa has so much things common in American society. So that shared value, that shared vision that America has, that is how we saw, President Obama brought up this whole idea to be able to build that strong bond together between Africa and America. And the reason why this year we are celebrating 10 years, we want to reflect, So if you look at the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program, it has created so much opportunities and helped so many people to succeed in their life, to be able to achieve so many things in their communities, in their countries, and even at the global level, if you look at Mandela Washington Fellows. So it's, and the YALI itself. So we want to reflect back and see where exactly did we come from? How far have we been? How has this changed the objective of this whole program? So we want to also focus more on the positive side of this entire program and be able to tell people this is what it has brought. And the other aspect is we want to see what happens in the next 10 years. We want to design this together. We want to come together and say, this is what we have achieved together. And in 10 years to come, this is what we want to reach. This is where we want to reach. So this year's conference actually will be focusing on exactly what had happened in 10 years. So for example, like how many lives have been impacted? How has this life changed? We know there were obstacles, like some fellows struggling, some of them, still needed help. But we know most of the people have achieved a lot in this past 10 years. So we want to reflect on that, help these fellows, help other people who don't understand the concept of the YALI program itself. Because, when people don't understand concepts, you try to build things that are theoretically not exactly why the purpose it is established. So actually, we want to focus on why is this program important? How can other people who are not part of the program understand the relationship between us and the others? And how can Mandela Washington Fellows and the YALI or the RLC centers leverage their relationship, bring it together, so that we'll be working towards achieving one objective of trying to drive the economic development of Africa. And the other aspect is we in the conference, we will be able to showcase or help people by bringing professionals from different fields in American universities, because we know there are a lot of things that Africa can learn from America. So we'll be able to bring these professionals to, online, to be able to discuss with these fellows and even the outside world, because the conference will be virtual this year because of the COVID-19. And you'll be having content from this conference that will really help you develop yourself. So what I just wanted to say as such is the program is just designed to be able to reflect what has passed in the 10 years and what we hope to achieve in the next 10 years coming, because we know there is a lot done in this program. Yeah.
Thank you, Alassane, for that information. It seems like that this is going to be a really dynamic year for the YALI program that's going to highlight all the great work that is still yet to come. And we're going to circle back to talk about how people can participate at the end of the program, because we're really hoping for some great alumni participation, not just from those who participated in one of the exchange programs, but also from the YALI network. So now we're going to turn over to one of our alumni from one of the programs, the Regional Leadership Center. In fact, my first introduction to YALI was when I visited the Regional Leadership Center in Nairobi, Kenya with President Obama. So it was very exciting to see that we had so many Regional Leadership Center participants here in the Gambia. So I want to invite Mohammed Kanye, to discuss a little bit about what the Regional Leadership Center has done for the Gambia. Mohammed, go ahead. I think his video might be frozen, but I'm seeing everyone else still able to move. So let's circle back to Mohammed in a few minutes. I'm actually going to go over to Fatoumata Gassama at this moment, who's one of the alumni from one of the most prestigious programs that we run, the Mandela Washington Fellowship. I will have a full disclaimer. We've worked with Fatoumata on quite a few projects together over the years. Since I've gotten here back in 2018, and I have been incredibly impressed with the work that she's doing, especially the fact that she stays so connected to her fellow alumni from the program. So Fatoumata, do you want to share a little bit about the impact of the Mandela Washington Fellowship on your work here in the Gambia?
Thank you very much, Kathryn. I would say the Mandela Washington Fellowship has changed my entire life. It has changed the people around me in my community and other people that I support. When I was selected for the fellowship in 2017, basically I was just working as a nurse, just in a junior leadership position. I didn't have enough knowledge on how to manage people, how to manage resources, and how to manage complex situations. But upon return from the fellowship, everything has changed. I was placed at Syracuse University under the Public Management Institute, but I would say Syracuse University is the best university that anybody can go to, because the program that was designed for us during the fellowship was so special. And we realized that at the end of the fellowship, during the summit, that it was only fellows who were placed at Syracuse University who had the opportunity to do grant writing, proposal writing, and other presentations during the fellowship program. So the fellowship program exposed me to a lot of things like public management, nonprofit management, entrepreneurship, community services, women and gender issues, volunteerism, and many other issues that are related to the work we do in the Gambia. And the institute leaders, the trainers that we had, were so connected with us that they were supporting us develop our project proposals that we can implement when we come back to the Gambia. So while sessions were going on, we had all the participants were attached to individuals, experts in the university, who were supporting us to review our proposals so that when we come back to the Gambia or to our different countries, we can actually go directly into the community and implement projects. So when I was selected for the fellowship, I had an initiative called I Care for All, but it was just a support group. So basically I had only 5 volunteers and we had less than 10 people that we impacted. But upon coming from the fellowship, I was able to register this as a charity organization. And we had 35 volunteers currently, and we have impacted the lives of more than 30,000 people in the Gambia. The entire transformation started when I received the Mandela Washington Fellowship small grant. I implemented the nationwide glaucoma project. And during this campaign, my team and I were able to travel to different regions in the Gambia. And we were able to examine 1,000 people who had eye problems. And from this sensitization, we were able to identify 100 people in rural Gambia who were blind. This means those people who were blind, they were not able to go back to their farms to grow their crops, support their kids. And some of these people, their kids have to stay back from school. But because of the grant that I received from the embassy, US Embassy, I was able to identify these people from the community, and we were able to recruit them and provide free cataract surgeries for these people. It means 100 people were able to see again, resume back to their normal activities, help their kids go back to school, and change lives in their communities. So this is one of the impacts that I was able to make from the Mandela Washington Fellowship. And then one of the achievements I also made was coming up with a social enterprise in the Gambia, that is Girls Pride. And the entire idea of Girls Pride came from a networking session that I attended while I was at Syracuse University. So I met an American lady called Sarah. She is a teacher who comes to Kenya and provide reusable sanitary pad for school girls, because she realized that girls will stay out of school during their period and they will miss a lot of lessons, and most of these girls end up becoming dropouts. So I had a passion of supporting girls, but I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to do. And this was something that has affected my life. So I told myself, this is the perfect idea I could ever get. So when I came back to the Gambia, I started working on it. And as of now, Girls Pride is a registered trademark in the Gambia. We have developed our products that we are tested by our target customers, and it has been evaluated and approved by the Gambia Standard Bureau. And we are able to provide reusable sanitary pads, reusable period pants, reusable baby diapers, and panty liners. We have recently developed a game called My Period Flashcard, because Girls Pride does not only provide sanitary products, we do sensitization, because women and girls in the community lack adequate knowledge on menstruation and their reproductive health issues. So we've realized that when you go to the communities, people find it challenging to understand when somebody just come and stand and talk. So I came up with this idea to have images, comic images that girls could relate to. So the card is designed in a way that you will play it as a game. It will be competitive, educative, and also you will be able to understand things that are surrounding menstruation. So the entire idea is to engage the girls, educate them in an edutainment format. You get entertained, and at the same time, you have knowledge on the particular issue. So that is for Girls Pride. And the most exciting part is the collaboration that has been emphasized during the Mandela Washington Fellowship, because most of the networking sessions that we attend, we are able to identify people that we can collaborate with to impact local and regional, to implement local and regional projects when we go back home. So when I came back to the Gambia, myself and Kujika applied for the AIEF grant. Unfortunately, we did not get the grant. Well, both of us had the same objective. So instead of all of us standing on our own, starting something, so we all came together that we will collaborate, come up with an initiative that will support girls in the Gambia. And the embassy has been supporting us a lot since we started our collaboration. That's Prospect for Girls. We are able to, from the projects that we implemented, in 2018, we did a sensitization on menstrual health and hygiene management. That was My Pride campaign that was done in the Gambia. Through the support again from the embassy, we were able to train 1,807 girls on menstrual health and hygiene management from 25 junior schools in Gambia. And 90% of these schools were all in rural Gambia. And again, we were able to make sure that it was an inclusive program. We included persons with disabilities, the blind, physically challenged, and everything who needs to be involved was involved, because these are the things that we learn from the fellowship. Inclusion is something key when it comes to Mandela Washington Fellowship. Collaboration, it's something that is important. And how do we utilize the little resources that we have within our community to impact lives in our community? So basically, for me, it was like learning, sharing, and impacting lives. And we cannot achieve this if we don't apply the things that we've learned from these different fellowships. So for me, it was just going to the fellowship, getting as much as I can, both in terms of knowledge, skills, and experience. And when I came back to the Gambia, I made sure I apply this knowledge and skills that I get and collaborate with as many fellows I can so that I can impact so many lives in the Gambia. So basically, that is the impact story. Unless there are any questions, I'll just end.
Well, we'll come back in a minute there, Fatimata. It's great to see that you've been able to have such a great impact on the life of girls here in the Gambia, and that the YALI program was a part of that. And that is one of the major goals of our exchange programs. And it's one of the reasons I'm so proud to get to be a part of it and see all the great work that you're doing. So I want to say thank you to Fatimata for joining us. A reminder to everyone, You are free to comment and ask questions in the chat. I see a few of them coming up, and we will get to them toward the end of the program. So please go ahead and comment. And it's great to see people who are tuning in as far away as Nigeria. So thank you for that. Go ahead and leave your comments in the chat. We're going to be monitoring them as we go along. I know that Mohammed had a little bit of an internet issue, but I think he's back with us. Mohammed, are you able to come back on the Zoom?
Hi, Kat. I hope I'm audible now. Really sorry about the internet connection.
Okay. Are you able to use your video at the moment?
Yes, I am. I am.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Well, I think everybody understands a little bit of an internet hiccup with Zoom. This is that has been the constant over the last 12 months, but it's still amazing that we're able to talk remotely and safely during the COVID crisis. Mohammed, can you share a little bit about the impact that the Regional Leadership Center has had here in the Gambia?
That is an amazing question, Kat. And let me say, the initiative in the first place was just an excellent one. Over the last 10 years, a lot of young Gambians like myself had been able to redirect their energy into serving their communities better. The Regional Leadership Center, specifically for West Africa, is in Ghana, Accra. And over the last years, from 2014 to date, the center has trained over 6,000 young Africans from 9 West African countries, the Gambia included. Most of these people have been able to go back to their communities and initiated programs that are yielding a lot of benefits for other young people in their countries. Specifically, when you look at the Gambia, for example, myself being a fellow from the ROC in 2018, immediately I came back home because of the interactions I had, obviously, in Ghana. We established the IMDID Gambia, which is International Model Diplomas for Integrated Development. And the whole target of this initiative is to help in capacity building for individuals as well as institutions, be they private or be they government institutions. So our areas of intervention had been on the ICT capacity building, entrepreneurship, as well as healthcare interventions in less privileged communities. We have been able to start a signature event, which we adopt as the Tech Cafe. And the whole essence of the Tech Cafe is to scout for rural scientists, especially those interested in computer science. So in collaboration with the Mansa Conco Area Council and then the UK JARA Association, the Boreng Association USA, and the Rural Development Institute all in JARA, we were able to start this initiative in JARA Soma, that is Al Hassan's backyard. And he was very helpful to us when we went there in 2019. So the initiative brought together about 3 senior secondary schools, students from 3 senior secondary schools who were taught on computer programming as well as graphic design and some skills in leadership. The whole essence is to ensure that these people who are also in the rural communities are taught life skills, things that they can actually leverage on and be able to make a living even without being formally employed. And obviously graphic design and computer programming are very helpful tools in this. The whole target is to ensure that we conquer the region. There are about 9 senior secondary schools, and we were only able to reach 3 senior secondary schools so far in 2019 July, because of obviously limitations of space and all that. But 2020, we were not able to continue because of the COVID-19. Now we have already started consultations again with the rest of the team and on coming up with modalities to ensure that the next phase of the program actually holds this year. We are thinking, and we believe this is going to happen, in the next 5 to 10 years, most of those kids who are in senior secondary school would have gone to the universities in the country and would have actually come out prepared enough to become the next gen of our engineers. So this program has had a very good impact, and we have now secured long-term partnerships with the institutions that I have mentioned. And we're looking forward to also working closely with the alumni and the US Embassy on expanding this project. We've also had some health interventions in collaboration with the Gambia Diabetes Association, where some of our fellows actually went into the communities, specifically in collaboration with the Elite Fitness in Senegambia, and brought together young people who are actually diabetic, affected by this health complication, to teach them how to properly look after themselves, what kind of food they should be looking at, considering much, and what they definitely need to avoid, among other things. And RLC equally, we had a lot of other young Gambians talk about Sheikh Omar Silla, SG Silla, who has been doing tremendously well in this country. And he has, obviously, he's still at the forefront in the fight against COVID-19. You talk about our young politicians like Kemo Bojang, a Mandela Washington Fellow, who is actually working at the Carnegie Municipal Council as the youth rep. Under his belt, he's got over 40,000 young people who are answerable to his office. And his office has equally been able to do tremendously well. You talk about fellows like Bakari Sonko leading the Peace Hub Gambia, and conducting training on security in transitional justice and so on. So we have had a lot of success stories when it comes to some of the people who have benefited from training in Ghana as well as in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And thank you for mentioning so many names that are so familiar to me, as I've worked here for the last 2.5 years. Kemo, Silla, Bakari, all amazing young people that I have been privileged to meet and work with. And in fact, quite a few different alumni, we're able to just come into an idea and get it rolling. And we are so excited to continue working with alumni of these programs. And it's so very clear to me that the US government does great things in promoting and supporting program participation. I forget what the exact figure is, but I think it's 1 in 3 world leaders, prime ministers and presidents around the world are alumni of US government exchange programs. So I think we've done a really good job. And I've met a few of our alumni who hope that someday in the future to be president of the Gambia. So maybe that'll happen. I have no doubts that they will definitely contribute in great ways. So thank you for that. And thank you for everyone who's commenting on Facebook. I thought we had someone far away in Nigeria, but somebody is watching from Malaysia. So welcome. And from Beijing, welcome to our live stream. It's great. If you have any questions, go right ahead and just leave them in the comments. We're glad to see that so many people are participating and that there's so many Gambians around the world who are taking part in our live stream. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. One of the questions that has come up is from, I believe, a Fox Say, who's asking a question, and I'll actually direct this to Ambassador Paschall. The question has to deal with how the change in administration can change U.S. support for programs like YALI. Do you have any insight on that, sir?
Yeah, thanks, Kat. And that's a great question. Thanks so much for putting that in the chat box. Quite frankly, YALI at its inception, I think there were some people who really questioned whether it would be successful, and it's been far more successful in terms of attracting young Africans into the program because of those connections that it offers them, and the training at the regional leadership centers, but really those connections with other young African leaders across the continent. And it really has been a phenomenally successful program, so much so that it has been replicated with different names in other parts of the world. So when you have that kind of success, quite frankly, I think there is tremendous support, administration to administration. I can tell you that in consultations that I've had in the last several years on Capitol Hill with staffers from both the Senate and the House and both parties, there is phenomenal support and appreciation for YALI and the Mandela Washington Fellowship. I think it is quite frankly, I think it's sort of a part of the fabric of our engagement with Africa now and in other parts of the world, so much so that that I really don't see a change in support from administration to administration. Our Education and Cultural Affairs Bureau has lead, if I'm not mistaken, Kat, at the State Department on the framework and support for YALI in coordination with the Bureau of African Affairs, and it goes quite well. And like I said, this is not a program that is supported by one or the other political party. This is a program that's supported across the political spectrum from all sides. And in fact, members of Congress, some of you who have been Mandela Washington Fellows know that quite often members of Congress are eager to meet with fellows while they're in Washington whenever they possibly can, to hear from them what their vision is of the future for their country and for Africa. And to understand better, sitting in those positions of authority in the people, the people's representatives in the government, the elected representatives, to be able to make changes or adjustments from a statutory perspective as needed. But again, tremendous support across the political spectrum in the United States. So we're very fortunate, and that really goes to, and I have to give credit where credit is due. It's all of the young Africans who have joined YALI over the years who have made it what it is. Like I said, we in the U.S. government provide a framework, but the dynamism and the relevance of YALI is because of the people who have joined the program and who have sought out the opportunity to be participants. So it really goes back to those of you on the screen on this live stream with us today who have participated in the various parts of YALI. Thank you, because you are what makes it successful.
Thank you, sir. And we're so glad that we have such support, because it's so clear that our alumni are doing great work here in the Gambia, and a lot of that comes from their participation in the program. So it is a great value for all of us. Thank you to everyone who's joining us on the live stream. I've seen people commenting from Venice and Ghana. So we have had quite a big reach today. One of the big things that we're here to announce today is some of the celebrations that are going on around the 10-year anniversary program. Al-Hassan Ba, who's leading our coordination effort, do you want to tell alumni and other members of the YALI network here in the Gambia how they can participate in what programs that we have going on? Because I believe that there is some contest and a way to submit stories, correct?
Yes. So thank you, Kathryn. And I'm like, I don't know how to express how excited I am, like Padmata and Mohammed narrating these perfect stories, of every Mandela Washington Fellow. And before going ahead, I want to just tell people I was at the University of California, Berkeley, the best public university in the world. I know Mandela Fellows will always, I went to the best university, but I know my university was the best. Actually, in this year, we want to showcase the stories, the success stories of the Mandela Washington Fellows or YALI Fellows. I'm sorry if I say only Mandela Washington Fellows, so I'm used to saying Mandela Washington Fellow more. So, but the YALI Fellows will have a perfect opportunity to tell their stories to the world by taking part in this competition. So this program is in partnership with Wilson Center. Wilson Center is the institution that is taking up the competition. So when they go online, it's very simple. Fellows can just click on the any of the link, like any embassy around Africa, or the YALI network, or the YALI face-to-face, or the Mandela Washington Fellowship Facebook page, or even the US Embassy Facebook page will be featuring this highlight. So there is a link on the Wilson Center. So if you see Wilson Center, do not think it's not a space. That's the space where they can go and submit their story. So what is this story all going to be about? If you want to take part as a fellow or YALI fellow, what is the thing that you need to put behind your mind? So first, you need to understand this year we want to focus on my story. Like, what is your story about in the YALI program? And two, how has it impacted your life? How has it impacted your community? And even taking you to the broader world. So you're going to write your story in a simple language, it's a language, either in the audio or video or a poem or drama, any form. And the participant is not restricted to saying, okay, might be it's an individual thing. No, if you think you can come into groups and write your story together and submit it, that is also going to be perfect. So you're going to write this story and put it there. So there'll be a selected story. Not all stories can surface on the whole on the competition, but they will select a winner. But some of the stories will be showcased during the conference to talk about the success stories of these people. And the reason why I decided to say, okay, let me go on Facebook to talk about this Facebook Live, or even bring these two amazing fellows on board to talk about their stories, is because I know in the Gambia there are a lot of Mandela Washington fellows doing amazing things. If you look at Aliou Jallow has been an amazing person who have been running the startup incubator, the US Embassy supporting. And believe me, I meet people who will tell me about Aliou Jallow like they don't know I know Aliou Jallow, like the life change he has brought to them. Keba Silla, Stalin Consortium, and many other people. Like, I cannot just wait to see their stories being told. I don't want to talk about my story because like I'm always overwhelmed. Like when I see other people's story. But actually, I've started a library. That was a dream come true. Through Episcopal ambassador. Kim Lam was Episcopal in the Gambia who helped start this library. So all these stories, we want to see them forward, because we know even at the RLC level, Mohammed Kanyi speaking to you has won the Spirit Award at the RLC YALI. Bakari Sonko. We also have I remember Bakari Fati, who was just like a guy who was, Alassane, how did you get to the fellowship program? And for me, it's a success story in the Gambia, because if you look at each of these fellows we mentioned here, and many others we have not mentioned, has really caused a big impact in this country. And we hope, and we have seen the way they are going forward is really helping. We know Taslima also working on transparency with Marnyang is just something that we cannot just ignore, like the energy. But most people may not know these are fellows. That is one thing why we came up with this idea to say, okay, now we need to go and tell them to tell their stories. What has happened these 10 years and how will it help in the next years? And Kathryn, you are right, like if you look at the Prime Minister of New Zealand, it's an IVLP. If you look at the current WHO, leading the WHO, United Nations at Guterres is an IVLP. So the story of the program of the US government has impacted the lives of many people. And I urge the Gambian fellows, to submit their competitions, to submit their essays, to submit their stories, because we want to see Gambian stories. Because we know the Gambians have amazing stories and have did a lot, and we want to showcase there. We know Dance Gambia, we saw how this lady went to the fellowship from the Gambia during the conference, and she performed at the fellowship at the conference. We want to see the stories on board. So this is how they can participate. It's easy. Let them just click on the links. I'll be sharing the links on my Facebook page and the embassy. Click on the Wilson Center. Write your story. Your story should be like, how has it impacted your life? How has it helped you to impact your community? And how has it helped you to reach out to the world to make a big difference? So for me, it has helped me a lot, because I have been to many parts of the world. If it would have not been the fellowship, it would have never been a reality in my life, because I know like the less privileged I was when I was not a fellow. And when I become a fellow, the endless opportunities that has brought for me, and like currently running a COVID-19 campaign in the country using social media, creating such videos, with the help of the embassy, and also giving face masks, t-shirts, even giving pants, like hand washing pants, using my students at the library to even campaign on COVID-19. It's just really amazing. This fellowship has just really changed many people's lives. And believe me, every young person I meet will like, Alassane, we want to be part of this success story. we want to tell our story. We want to see the embassy continue this program. People were scared, like the ambassador was answering. People were scared that, when Donald Trump comes, President Trump comes, things will change because, the America First policy. We saw Joe Biden come in because the good thing is we are learning the success story of democracy and how challenges democracy face and how do you tackle the democracy throughout these things. It's also going to help us fellows in the future to be able to learn all these things. So this program is going to contribute because I know the shared value or the shared vision that the US government and Africa have is something that cannot be ignored. And to be honest, it's just amazing to be part of the entire program. And I cannot just express how much I feel here. And that is why, always I want to put on my Barclays hat, and portray that. Thank you, Kathryn. So this is how you can get to the program.
Well, I think you probably know there, Alassane, that there's always a healthy competition between schools in the United States. And I've certainly seen a healthy competition between alumni of programs about where they went to university in the United States. So I know that you have quite a love for Berkeley. And I'm glad to see that has fostered. I'm also glad to see so many people who are alumni of the RLC program or members of the YALI network who are participating in our live stream. I will send a quick shout out to Mr. Jeng, who's commenting on how amazing Fatoumata's story is and how YALI has changed his life. So I'm hoping he and everyone else will participate in this 10-year anniversary program by submitting their stories through the Wilson Center. Thank you for YALI TV for sharing the link in our live stream, and we will be sharing that on our Facebook page and on our webpage. And throughout the next few weeks, we are going to be promoting the importance of submitting your story through the Wilson Center, because we really need to amplify the impact of this program. And as we talk to amazing alumni and those who are members of the YALI network, we'll be able to amplify their stories through this whole program. We only have a few more minutes left. So before we start closing out the program, I do want to answer one or two other questions. One of them came in, and it may be best for me to try to field this one because I do work with the program, probably the most closest at the embassy. Francis Jada is asking questions about whether or not the fellowship works in security-related personnel and helping them improve their work in the country. And one of the things that you've probably seen from our panel is that the people who participate in the YALI network, in the RLC, and in the Mandela Washington Fellowship come from a diverse background. Fatoumata shared her story. She's working with another alumni who had a completely different professional background, but the two of them were able to come together and share their expertise and their knowledge to collaborate on a really impactful program here in the Gambia. So we have certainly sent security personnel on the fellowship, and we also have other exchange programs that do professional development for people in the security sector. So regardless of what industry or what field you're working in the Gambia, you may be qualified to participate in one of our programs. So when they become open, please go ahead and apply. You can apply for the YALI network today. There is tons of training programs on there that can be supportive to anyone working in any field. I'm going to let the ambassador jump in on that as well.
Hey, very quickly, Kat, great points all, and certainly YALI and the fellowship are certainly open to those who qualify in the security services or not, or other government service. So we do encourage people, and we have had members of the security services participate in YALI and Mandela Washington Fellowship programs, which is fantastic. But let me just mention, just as an aside, we do have a robust law enforcement training program. In fact, we have an international law enforcement academy in Ghana for Anglophone, primarily for Anglophone countries. We do also have Francophone International Law Enforcement Training Academy. I'm sorry, we also have one in Botswana, but also for Francophone countries. And I'm trying to remember the country that's located in Africa. We do quite a bit of training. The U.S. government does in partnership at that academy with U.S. federal law enforcement agencies under the State Department's leadership in Washington. Our International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Bureau actually oversees and manages those training, those academies around the world. So not just in Africa, but we also have centers up in Europe and Central and South America, et cetera, et cetera. And I will say we have provided training in specifically to forensic investigation, since that's your question, including financial crimes forensics investigation. We have provided training, and we did provide support to the investigators in the JANA Commission, for example, where we did provide some training and support for forensics investigation, as well as investigation training. So that's actually, although that's not part of YALI, YALI does have a bit of a particular focus. It is part of our pretty robust engagement with law enforcement agencies around the world to help share, augment both, frankly, interconnectivity between those law enforcement agencies in Africa so that they can cooperate. As you know, many crimes cross borders. You've all been tracking, I'm sure, the news from Green Up Gambia and the Minister of Environment about the illegal wood that was found in a couple dozen containers that appears to have been illegally trafficked and trying to be smuggled out of the Gambia, probably wood coming from Casamance, which I think you've also seen press as a big concern for the Senegalese government. So none of these things, very few of these types of issues are not international in nature. So we continue to work that in other channels, not necessarily part of YALI, but thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, we have quite a few programs in that area, and I'm glad to see that people who are working in the security sector are participating in our live stream. I will also point out we've had some very amazing alumni who participated, who were Gambian police officers, who I consider very good friends here in the Gambia, who are doing incredibly impactful work since returning home from the fellowship. So we only have a few minutes left. I want to thank everyone who participated in the program on the live stream, especially all of those members of the YALI network, the digital network, and alumni of the programs who are starting to share their stories. I am going to encourage everyone to share via the Wilson Center and yali.state.gov, where you can share your story and participate in this 10-year program. So I will just give everyone another 1 minute before the end of our program to give your final plug for participating in the 10-year program. Let me start over with Fatumata.
Thank you, Kathryn. So I will just tell everyone out there that the Young African Leaders Program, it's a program that you cannot measure the impact. It will change your life. So whatever program that you are qualified for, just go in and apply. I would say that since I became a Mandela Washington Fellow, like Alassana said, you have a lot of opportunities. I was selected for the One Young World Ambassador program. I was selected for Office Scholar. I attended the Obama Foundation Leader. I became Tony Emelo Entrepreneur. So you have a lot of opportunities that you will have when you attend this fellowship program. So one thing that I am passionate about is when you learn something, share it so that you can impact life. But when you learn, you go to this program because there is so much money that is invested in you. When you come back to your community and you just keep the information, you will not be able to have any impact. So when you learn, share, and apply this knowledge and skills in your community, in whatever department you are working, this way you'll be able to impact lives in your community. So it's all about impact, learning, sharing, and impact. So thank you very much, and I'm glad to join this conversation.
I'm glad, and thank you for encouraging everyone to share, because that is definitely part of this 10-year anniversary, is that we need to share those stories. Mohammed?
Okay, last word. Thank you everybody for joining us. We appreciated the time that you've taken to be online with us. Congratulations and God bless you. About the YALI, I say, please endeavor as much as possible and get yourself on this program. For those of you who have already benefited from the trainings, different platforms, please participate in the 10-year celebration. Share your stories, because definitely I believe it is going to touch somebody's life. Someone's life will change because of your story. Do not take that to be a very little thing per se. We've seen what it has been able to do to our lives and the lives of the people we interact with, those that we work with. We have seen what YALI fellows are able to do in this country, the blind mentorship program of Aliou Jaite, the Commission on Political Debates, the Tech for All, led by Soon Fai. You can continue naming them. And I believe, honestly believe, that this signature effort of the United States government is not only going to yield benefits, it is already doing it right now. Thousands of lives are being changed every other day. Hundreds of thousands of lives will be changed along the line. And Africa would see a certain leadership style that will be synonymous with success and only success. Thank you very much, Kat, and thank you, the Honorable Ambassador. My co-panelists, Al Hassan, Fatmata, I look up to people like them. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Al Hassan, your final plug for participation?
I just want to start by saying this program started with 115 people or young Africans to 24,000 alumni in Africa. That has shown the big impact that's made. And I'm just going to reiterate on the fellows to tell them that go and click these links on the Wilson Center and apply. And let me tell you, it's on 3 tracks, like we have 3 tracks. We have the civic engagement track, we have the public management track, business entrepreneurship track. Look at what best suits you, what you can talk about on video, on scripts, on either a poem or a sound, any way you can tell your story to be able to help people talk about this, because I cannot just go back to what everyone said, because we know this is one of the best programs ever. I know it's not the only program, but it's one of the best programs ever initiated in our time. And I just want to tell you, even the security sector, you know, we have Mariama Jallo, who is a police officer who have benefited from the Mandela program, fighting for the rights of the girls. So Kathryn, thank you so much for accepting to host this program on the Facebook page. And thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for coming, you know, and cheering us up and talking about the benefits that the US government has for all of us. Thank you so much. And I hope to see many entries from the Gambia and one of the stories featured. Thank you.
Thank you, Al Hassan, and thank you for taking on the task of running our advisory committee for the 10th anniversary. I am sure this will be one of many programs that we will conduct throughout the whole year. And I'm so glad that we were able to meet via Zoom, even though the COVID-19 pandemic has kept us, has forced us to stay at home. But I'm glad that this technology exists, that we are able to connect and share and inspire remotely, which is the point of the YALI program. Let me turn it over to Ambassador Paschal as we close out the program today.
I think, let me just say first off the top, thank you to Kat and Aliou and Molly from our public affairs section for putting this together and hosting. Really appreciate all the work you do day in, day out in support of YALI, in support of Mandela Washington Fellowship, our American corners, and all of our engagement here in the Gambia. So thank you all so much for your hard work and your constant hard work and effort in reaching out and engaging. I just want to say how much of a privilege it is for me to be here today with these really phenomenal examples of really fantastic, ethical, hardworking, and collaborative and hospitable people. I really learn from hearing of your stories, and it makes me feel like there's so much more I can accomplish if I just follow many of the your example of service and dedication to your communities, and looking how you can partner with others in a collaborative way to advance so many things for your families, for your friends, for your communities, and for this country. The Gambia is truly fortunate to have you. I know all have heard me remark in the past that the young people are the future of the Gambia, and the future of the Gambia is in good hands. with the young people that we get to work with and interact with on a daily basis. So thank you again. I feel very privileged and honored to be here with you today. Keep up the great work. It is truly, truly fun. The best and most fun, rewarding part of my job is getting to work with you all and others like you who are doing such great things in the country. So thank you. And we will continue to partner with you for the foreseeable future. One quick note, Kat mentioned she's been here for about 2.5 years now. Just to honor Kat a little bit, she has several months left here in the Gambia, but she will be moving on later this summer onto her next Foreign Service assignment. But you all know Kat, know her well, and just of her dedication, not just to her job, but her passion for supporting YALI and supporting the Gambia as it works on these many programs through the grants program that her office manages, the American Corners, the many different public affairs engagements. So Kat, you've got several more months to continue doing all the great things you do, but just a shout out to you for the 2.5 years of dedicated service to the United States Gambia relationship and that outreach and engagement that we have through public affairs. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. It's honestly been a privilege of a lifetime to be out here working with all of these amazing young Gambians and with yourself and the embassy team. And one of the greatest privileges I've had is to be out here during the COVID-19 pandemic and being able to work with organizations like Girls Pride, Prospect for Girls, and the Bilal Public Library to run campaigns to combat the pandemic. Since we have so many people who are joining the live stream from around the world, I just want to reiterate the importance of the 3 W's: watch your distance, wear your mask, and wash your hands. It has been a very challenging year for everyone, but I know with the leadership of our great YALI alumni, that we're going to be able to overcome this pandemic. So thank you everyone for turning in. Thank you to our alumni who are on the board today, and for Ambassador Paschal for all of the support that you've given the program. If you are an alumni of the program or a member of the YALI network, please participate in the 10-year program for the links from the Wilson Center, which will be on our website and on our Facebook page. And we look forward to reading everyone's stories. Thank you and have a great day.